And welcome everybody to the second half of our Highgate Society Poetry Group meeting, January 22. I'm going to start with my three poems, and kind of over the last 2 years or so, we've seen a lot of rainbows appearing in windows, on streets, etc. And I think it's kind of fine to kind of pay tribute to our NHS. However, I want to tell you the truth about rainbows. Red is fire, red is blood, red in tooth, red in claw, red is passions burning, red is violence bleeding, red in empire biting, red in marriage scratch, scratch, scratch. Orange is slow to boil, orange has slyer desires, orange is deceitful, orange steals from back pockets, orange has youth on his side, orange caught you on a slide. Yellow wants attention, yellow makes babies cry, yellow, yellow belly, yellow, unstable, mad, yellow as a sickness, yellow with his secrets. Green takes hoards your money, green grasping like a bank, green envies your business, green knows very little else. Green is greed and on the take. Green is green as green can be. Blue is slow and creepy. Blue is thinking, screw you. Blue thinks machismo. Blue thinks he's Superman. Blue thinks he'll fire you. Blue will screw you if he can. Indigo has many letters squashed into three small parts. Indigo, indigo, indigo with his sadness test. In we go with deep frustration, indigo like all the rest. Violet was my dirty auntie playing fast with many men. Violet's table was unsavory. Violet chuckled like a hen. Violet was a damn good drinker. Violet couldn't count to 10. All these colours make a rainbow. We should keep them high in the sky. Take them down from all our windows. Kiss this deathly disease goodbye. Blame the Tories for this mess. Removed Boris who caused distress. Never ever will we forget those who ran down the NHS. And that's the truth about rainbows. I mentioned one of my aunties in that kind of rhyme. And she appears again in this one called Me Uncle's Pub, which is performed in Black Country dialect. Me Uncle's Pub. Me Uncle's Pub, the dog and partridge on the corner where the beer was flatter than Big John's flat. That was Saturday night. That was Saturday night after hours parties, lock-ins and all. Aunt Vi wouldn't care, the dirty old mare. Not on a Saturday night. That was Saturday night, the drinking, the smoking, the forever open. Me mother got slaughtered unlike her straight daughter, the one that fell off a slide. Said laugh on that night and John, Big John, he'd laugh. He'd say I put a pike in a bath, was ever so daft. I thought I'd clean it and eat it, but when I got back, life it ain't like nearly tore my fucking arm to pieces. And that was Saturday night where the casino played and my dad sang baritone on Mother Kelly's doorstep just before going home. He'd drive and he'd drink, not as bad as you think, though it's wrong, be all long, for the way that it was way back then on Saturday nights. And finally, pick up, pick up, pick up, pick up. Me and the phone driving around, hands-free, making contact with the memory of you and me, the way we'd be together. Pick up, the old dog and bone on, near home, not far, maybe we'll meet, share a tasteful jar, a local bar together. Pick up, your old red phone, tin to tin, old style, we two speak in words of love, not bile, taking a while together. Pick up, is this number only yours alone? Pick up that phone, is this still your home, or have you roamed? Can't we still be together? Put down, blame it on me, always yours alone. There's no answer. Perhaps you've gone. Chose to move on. We can't be together. And that's it from me. Over to you, Gwyneth. Have you found something for us?
I've got the poem I wrote on my Christmas card.
Right.
Oh, right. The story goes that I have been kept sane in COVID time by the garden of the flats here. And it was the garden of the old house that used to sit on this site. And it's really wild. It's mature trees and shrubs and full of wildlife. We've got a resident fox, resident squirrels, and so on and so forth. And I love it. And I wrote a poem about it, and then I fished out of my cupboard one of my paintings. I hold it up and decided I would make a Christmas card of that. And that I did, and because I always send my own card and my own poem to my friends at Christmas, because I've moved around and lived in so many different places. I've got wonderful friends scattered all over the country, and we get in touch at Christmas time. So this is this poem about my love of the garden that's kept me sane, and my painting and my poem. The resilience of beauty and beauty of nature, the reflected patterns of light and shade. Fleeting snow showers define the trees. Winter winds reshape the landscape. Time to share throughout all the world. The Christ child's gift of love for all. Time to recall with friends and family precious memories of shared lives. So that was my poem that I dispatched along with the painting. And then the other thing that I got really cross about was all the nonsense about climate and all the people who you used to think were intelligent who decided that there was no climate change. So I wrote a poem called Am I My Brother's Keeper? Do I care for my neighbor or just for myself, my money, possessions, and status? Do I care for this world with its beautiful planet, or just the places where I choose to live? If we are citizens of the world, this fettered looking should surely end, or we will all certainly perish. Spring clean away the dust of ages. Accept the realities of this century. We need the moral strength of those who struggled for peace in many campaigns. Ours is a mission to save our planet. Right, so that's my poems. Right.
Excellent, Gwyneth. Thank you. Without further ado, Kevin, who is still in Italy, by the way.
Right. Right.
He didn't come over here during the break then.
You've preempted me twice, actually, Rich. Once about Italy and then about murder. So with my poem. So here we go. The first is just it's a short one. So after the 2 years that we've had, the uncertainty as we move into this new year, the hopefulness, I suppose, just very brief, called Sailing for Ithaca. Weave and unweave, weave and unweave, all sad Penelopes uncertainly waiting by the curtain with our eyes out to sea, searching for the hopeful sail to free us of these poisoned cups. Watch and wait, watch and hope, weave and unweave, weave and unweave. And Rich, as promised, a little murder. So Leviathan. A rendezvous with murder in the city of dreadful night. Long shadows fall over ancient tenements, the spit and fields as the moon strikes the steeple, and silhouettes spill through desolate alleyways, filling them, enormous, black, and motionless. The kraken lurking in silence encircles the desperate life with mighty tentacles, bitter cries smothered in the empire of darkness. The prophet of the poor wields the sword, and the people of the abyss sway in conquered silence, faces wise with wickedness. The dull bells in the white tower toll mournfully through another foggy eve, and the boys on the corners cry murder, murder, murder.
Oh, it beats my serial killer into a cocktat.
At all. Those were my
Michelle.
two, Rich. So
Michelle, can you unmute and render a rendition?
Sorry, I'm unmuting. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know. I've been trying to write a poem about this for many years, so let's see how it goes. Fame is to blame, shame, not fame. My speech pad says it's Spain. What's in a name? Fame, what's a name? Didn't David Bowie sing Fame? It's in the name. Shame, fame, and Spain. Spain takes you down and takes you under. Or do you just wander? Fame takes you in and takes you down and takes you under. Fame rhymes with shame, and shame is not a game. What's in the name of shame? Warhol reckons 15 minutes of fame. Warhol missed 15 minutes of shame as he bathed in fame and songlines as he led the artist by the hand and added his fame to their names. He met Bowie and loved the underground that he managed. Is it the songs in your head that create thoughts and unraveling emotions? So that's that one. This is another one that isn't quite finished, but anyway. Stitched up. Toxic fumes form words. Words cannot be spoken. Words no one should hear. The words of venom, the worst kind. Venom squeezes into places that beer cannot reach. First it numbs, then it paralyzes. The victim is then frozen in a time and a place. A coma caused by venom leaves the victim unable to move. Or alternatively, they could just be gagged. No matter what strangulation has occurred, the brutal and relentless attack has begun. And the bite is the bit that has to be sucked out. Poison flows through veins around the heart. Yes, it has to be sucked out. To suck out the venom, you need to be loved. To draw out the venom, you need support. To extract the venom, you need to be needed. To delete the venom, you need action. Toxic poison, toxic waste is a human disgrace. And that's it.
Very good. Yeah.
I'm not sure it's finished really. I think I'll leave it at that because I've got a lot of things that I'm sort of working on. And yeah, that'll be mine tonight.
Okay, think about it. Over to Seamus.
Oh my God.
No, it was only me.
The equivalent thereof. The blood must be well into your skull now, man. Upside down. I'll do two shorties, but I do owe you a poem, but I'll bring it out next time where we meet up. It was do you remember that one I got wrong about creation, and I wrote this sort of the Bible on how the earth was recreated by the Irish, but I won't give that one. That's a bit long. But for all you spirits out there, if you want to tune in next month, you'll get it. I'll give my reprise to. Do you remember the one I wrote about the Joseph was the fall guy? I had to make a peace with my mother, so I wrote one that would give her a bit of peace, but she didn't like it either. So it's called Reconciliation, Excommunication, Prayer for All Ye Heathens. But she didn't like it either. She's a hard woman. I resolve to evolve beyond my inherent bias and to repent from my papish bent. No more shall I be so pious. I leave the prods to their false gods, let the tegs have their messiahs, and to those who mock the sacred flock, you the devil's own pariahs. I don't blame the Calvinists or born-again Plantagenets who thought we Catholics were anal cysts. For them alone hell's kilns exist. No bitterness shall I bear against my foe or for what they wear, nor no more slander have I got for those blessed folk I knowest not. I bless them all from head to toe, peace be with them where'er they go, be it blissful heaven or down below. So this prayer each day I will say to keep them evil thoughts at bay. Hiccups, pickups and holy brie, keep me safe and the air tax free. It didn't work either. For obvious reasons, the prayer at the end got her, it upset her, but it was going well up until then, but I could only be serious for about 30 seconds. And the next one it's an oldie, but it's not an oldie, it's a newie, because I keep working at it and kicking it into shape. When I was back home in Ireland doing that play, it was cold. It was cold, and I mean cold. Cold. It's cold over there, and it's wet, and it's dank, and it's windy, but the people are nice. But it's just cold. Northern Ireland's cold. So this is a poem about how we survived as children. Basically, my father hacking away at the frozen ground to make a living for 9, 10 children. You know what I mean? Being one of 10. It's called Kingdom Come. I stumbled across 'neath Needy Ridge, his hardy hands had grafted, and watched his sickle scythe sway, that magic wand he wafted. His footsteps traced timelines for me as I caught up with his frantic spree. Each glimpse of him mind muddled mud, his warming smile for free. The beat beneath our soggy feet kept time with men of yore. Oh, well, it's well, I looked and fell, just as his bones grew sore. The will that filled each gaping drill, he stooped to carry on. With tired hands, with foodlets panned, waved on a star-spun dawn. With shoveled sigh, each cry, hungry cry craved, he'd give us more. With each year's precious harvest spent, bent low to dig his gore. Hungry-eyed with bare-faced spade made many's a desperate stand, and I watched in fascination as he sapped this sapped land. By gaping grape I rode the gate till the sun stunk down by bow, and I knelt and felt the pulse of Celt from each threadbare hedgeless row. Cold wind, wild Atlantic breeze for us, with pissed wind the north I curse, where assassins stalk with evil lust, mad dogs unleashed to do their worst. Ah, hey, they say it's hey today, and later sandy strand, among the washed out seaweed, on dune and all swept sand. No murkish mud, but seaweed flood, O miraged promised land, and shellhouse in all its regal glade, draped with bucket, pail, and spade. By foolish pish pools we downed all tools to see what they might yield. A million swells where mermaids dwell, where no man ditches fields, nor bearlet plough, nor wanting cow spoils this seaside spree. A lifetime wish forever born, the way to kingdom come and gone.
Mm.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, and that reminds me a bit of Seamus Heaney's poem about his father's hands, you know, and as
Yes.
he's working in the land. Do you know that? Do you know that one? It's
I know, it's called Digging.
Digging, yeah. And that,
yeah.
sorry.
No, I was conscious of that, but it's a different take on the same.
Of course. No, I'm just telling you, like it's like you've re-embraced and re-immersed yourself in childhood, and you're observing your father, you know, and the strength of your father, not just in his physical actions, but also in his temperament and his spirit. You know, it's that the theme of it, you know. Yeah, two totally different poems, but you know, they seem interconnected by theme. It's very enjoyable. I really like that. Yeah.
Thank you. And a good synopsis, a good criticism of it in the kindest way.
Yeah. Well, lovely. Yeah.
Thanks, Jessica.
Anything from you, Christopher?
Well, no, I only wrote one, and that was difficult.
It was good though.
Oh, thank you.
I enjoyed it.
In spite of your criticisms about porridge. Okay, so over to Jessica.
Okay. I've sort of been inspired to read some Shakespearean sonnets, well, the same structure as Shakespeare's sonnets, because well, the rhythm of Sean's poems, I feel were sort of quite traditional, you know, in the way that they were describing, you know, this intense relationship where it's between son and father. And then Michelle's poems about venom, which is mentioned in one of the sonnets, and also Kevin's poem about murder, sort of the boys on the corners talking about murder, sort of brought me back to the Capulets and the Montagues for a moment, which of course was, you know, written by Shakespeare, the Romeo and Juliet. And so if you allow me, it's not on the theme of breaking the ice, but I strictly to form, I wrote quite a lot of sonnets, and you know, 12 lines of 10 syllables each, 10 feet each, and then 2 last rhyming lines. So can I indulge you all with my romantic sonnets?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yes,
okay. So okay, I'll read 3 of them, I think. Okay, they don't have a title, so just you can use the first line as a title. To lose a lover is like a small death that after suffering does not bring peace, nor does it bring finality or wealth, but enfeebles like a cruel disease. Memory and longing mingle like mist around the buds of primroses in spring. And I remember when we first kissed under the elm tree where the blackbirds sing. The same tree is shedding its leaves in grief, and the blackbird mourns for his missing mate. I want to bury feeling, find relief from the growing anguish which seems my fate. But pure sorrow has no better reason than to have loved for just one season. And this is a slightly more dramatic one. Again, I'm stuck strictly to that form, that sonnet form. The happy swallow flies from tree to tree, leaping in the air like the lambs in spring. Oh, how different from the pain in me, the hapless torment of a broken wing. No longer can I fly at your command to meet secretly in the wood at night, or feel the touch of your assuring hand as I left in the mist of morning light. I have been wounded gravely by a foe your father had promised you to wed, and watch the swallows and a waiting crow fly over the bracken of my deathbed. Fatal may be the sword's destined thrust, but immortal the words, in love we trust. And the next sonnet, again following that structure. In wounding you, I have myself wounded, bled the vein where sweet love pulsated through, in a meadow where bluebells abounded, bathed in the rapture of morning dew. Cruel frost has stopped the flower's growth, freezing petals into a face of grief. For hearing harsh words that breached an oath, my beloved has fled in disbelief. I will turn the earth back on its axis, so summer will warm her sorrowed face. Command the moon as she wanes and waxes to guide my darling from her hiding place. If one breaks an oath of veneration, forgiveness demands true supplication. It's a bit lofty, but I was challenging myself to see if I could exactly write in the form of a sonnet, you know, the required structure, and so that those were my attempts anyway, and to sound somewhat Shakespearean as well, you know.
And they were written as together as like a triplet.
Yeah, you could call it. I mean, I sort of use the word triptych when I put three together, but yes, they could be triplets. Yeah, I mean, I have others, but that was just something. When I was listening to your other poems tonight, they somehow brought those to mind because of the shared themes and the lyrical way in which you've all been reading. So
beautiful, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah. Okay.
Beautiful, thank you, Jessica. Like anything as sweet as chocolate from Debbie.
Well, sadly, moving on from the chocolate theme.
Oh no.
I would like to, spend all night on it. This is one I wrote last Christmas, and I've read it at Survivors Poetry, so a couple of you will have heard it before. It's called Beckoning. A tallow candle to light my way. We meet again, old friend, psychosis. The lurking maker of addictive dreamscapes, exquisite personalities, desperate life-saving roles for me to play. The we-toxication, compelling new realities from another dimension, which gently wraps arms of delusion about me and pulls me across my half-sleep into the darkest waters where life meets death, where dreams and lost souls migrate, and endless possibilities lie in the swirling depths, all requiring blood sacrifice. Shine a lamp from offshore on this deepest of oceans to call me back if you will, if you need to, if you must. It's a long way. The journey will take many days. There lies another kind of magic, earthborn and of this season. There are pine and holly branches in a copper pot strewn with twinkling lights in a window, and figures from another mythical history, more ancient, urging Saturnalian celebrations in a time of peace, a northern hemisphere feast. But first I have to pay the ferryman to get permission to return. I cannot afford. So I swim towards the glowing shoreline where the people are. There lies my heart, still beating. My upward stroke is strong. It tugs me away. The strange dark water creatures are forced to relinquish their grasp. Tentacles unwrap, pincers unpinch, and I emerge shining and breathless where the waters slap and recede, swell and roll, heaving and sighing, full of sorrow, sucking every living thing back. I see the bright window, a copper pot filled with pine and holly branches and twinkling lights. Hades smiles a dark smile and glides remorselessly away with his creatures. One soul returned today. That's that one. Thank you.
Nice ending.
That's me tonight. That's me. Thank you.
That's excellent. It was a really nice ending as well. I have to say you're looking well and sounding well, Debbie. I know you had a hard year next year. Had a hard year last year. Hope it improves for you in 2022. Andrew, what about you? Talking about another dimension.
Well, here's a poem about January the 25th. So, which of course is Burns night, and as I understand it, if you go to a proper Burns party, not only do people read out Burns poems in the course of the evening, but a popular game is to say, make up a little story, like your great uncle Joe knew Robbie Burns and wrote your uncle a special poem, and here is an hitherto unpublished Burns poem. So here's my hitherto unpublished Burns poem, and I'm afraid it's not very clever. If anyone's familiar with Burns will recognize quite a lot of it. But anyway, so my great uncle Joe, of course, was a vegetarian, a vegan, and so this is what Robbie Burns wrote for him. It's called Ode to a Veggie Whistle. Fair Beely, thine honest merry face, great lord of the vegetable race, above them all ye take your place, grated carrot, courgette and oots, well Beely worthy of a grace to sliver down our throats. The groaning platter there thee fill, thine buttocks like a distant hill, thine spatula would repair a mill in time of need. Thine juices emerge, what a thrill it is to see you bleed. Thine knife be ready, fall aright, and cut you up without a fight, digging into thine gushing insides bright, like any witch. And then, oh, what a glorious sight, warm, steaming, rich. Then with silver spoons they strive, devil take, the last man on they drive, until their swollen bellies arrive, are stretched like drums. But now whose belly wilt survive when the time comes? There be like loose French ragout, or soya that would sicken a sprout, or fricassee that would make them shout. This be no winner, looks down with a steaming, scornful doot on such a dinner. Poor devil, see him over his blush, as weak as a withered rush, his spindle shank reduced to mush, his clenched fist extremely split, through a bloody battlefield to crush. Oh, how unfit! But note the Rissole fed St. George, fashioned in the vegan forge, clasped in his hefty fist to gorge, he'll make it whistle. its savoury innards to disgorge, like the tops of thistles. The powers who make mankind your care, and dish them up their bill of fare. Old England wants no watery ware that splashes in the bowl. But if you wish a grateful prayer, give her a veggie whistle. No similarity to address to a haggis, of course.
Well, I've seen pictures of all your rissoles and your wonderful delectable buffets that you create.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive. Yeah.
Thank you.
A man very qualified to talk about rissoles.
I love cooking. I just love cooking, and Christmas for me is all about cooking.
Yeah, well.
But it's actually a tradition, Andrew. I don't know if you're aware of this, but it's a tradition. It's a tradition for our last poet to feed every other poet at our next meeting.
Ah,
Oh,
sounds good.
Oh, right.
It does sound good, yeah.
February,
I'm up for that.
which is usually quite a cold month, isn't it? February, cold. We've got Michaelmas, Candlemas. We've got Candlemas, haven't we? Shrove Tuesday, I think, as well, maybe.
Yeah.
Pancake
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay,
like
so-
pancakes are on you then, Andrew.
Candles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
Pancakes,
You can have candles or pancakes.
definitely pancakes.
Gluten-free pancakes.
Yeah, that's right.
Rice flour version.
Is the beginning of Lent, I suppose you could.
It is, yeah. So Lent, pancakes, something.
Or Purim.
Yeah.
And so it comes to that time of night where we kind of set our challenge for next time.
Are we? Will this be Tuesday, the 1st of January?
But hopefully,
No, February.
It's February.
Yeah, I won't be here on that one, so I'm
getting out and providing food, are you,
I know.
Andrew?
messing you about, and then I won't turn up.
Well, we can always do it the following Tuesday. We can do the following Tuesday, can't we?
The following Tuesday would be good. I'll be here.
Yeah. And then we can do a sort of combination with Valentine's Day as well. So,
Yeah, it might
Such a-
take-
Valentine.
yeah. So that'll be the 8th, will it,
Yeah.
Richard?
yeah, I think it probably will, because the first week is already taken by another group, and so it will probably be 8th of February.
The 8th sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so any offers for our challenge?
I think it should have something to do with Valentine's Day, shouldn't it?
And we're also
That's a
talking
good
food,
one.
the food of love.
Love.
So, yeah, Andrew has to bring some love food.
Love food.
So it has to have apples.
Apples.
We
Yeah.
could have Cupid as our theme, or one of our themes.
Mm.
But is that a bit too cliched for everyone? Or
Just put love in, and that captures all.
Yeah, that's true,
There's
yeah.
lots of things around that time of the year, so we can incorporate all of them, any of them.
yeah,
Okay, simply love in all
What?
its forms.
What, love and Lent, is it, or?
Well, pancakes as well, Candlemas, Lent.
Love and Lent.
And we've got kind of love and Lent.
Love and Lent, is it?
Love and Lent.
Yes, and all Lent. Yeah,
Pancakes. Yep.
it's got a nice alliteration to it. Anyway,
yeah.
Lent love, borrowed love.
Lent love, yeah.
Yep.
Right, and hopefully Kevin will have returned from Italy by then. Right, and Seamus from
There's only
Ireland,
one.
and Michelle from the south of France. And
There's only one. There's only one problem, Rich. We don't pay your £3. Should we give our £3 to charity, our local charity shop or something?
Well,
yeah,
well, we're
entirely up
making
to
a
you.
loss actually at the hall, so save a bit of extra money to top up next time.
Mm.
Yeah,
Making a
maybe
loss personally.
charge us £3 a time, and we'll deduct it from our electricity bill. Yeah, I think that's what we should do. Is just keep topping up the £3, and then just give
All
Richard
right.
£30,000 by the time we meet again.
Yeah, yeah.
There needs to be a lot of us.
Yeah, if Boris Johnson has his way.
Right, I'll accept 30,000 from each and every one of you in turn. Okay. Cheers, boys and girls, men and women.
All right.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to say something to Seamus. Seamus, I actually met to Sean. I actually met Seamus Heaney a few times.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, heard him read in upstate New York in Albany, where I used to live. Because Bill Kennedy, who wrote Ironweed, do you know William Kennedy? Bill Kennedy. He was chair of the English department at Albany at the State University, and so he started the Writers Institute. And he used to invite a lot of international writers, but also quite a lot of Irish writers. And Seamus Heaney was one of the ones that the Writers' Centre sponsored, and I was kind of in that group. So I got to kind of have quite a long chat with him on a few occasions. Yeah, he's a very modest man, but I really remembered, those conversations I had with him. So I was quite lucky, really, to be able to meet him. I think.
I bet you got to shake his hand.
I did. Yeah.
I might shake yours when I see you.
Oh, okay. I'll pass on his vibes. Yeah.
Oh, he is one of my heroes, obviously.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite poets, actually. Yeah. So
Similarly, so yes.
yeah,
My favorite. Yes.
I never got to meet him, although, unfortunately.
yeah, that was quite a interesting kind of 5-6 years. That time in Albany, because a lot of eminent writers, were invited to read, and some of whom hadn't quite been catapulted into fame yet, but were kind of on, just kind of on the launch, were being launched themselves. Because, William Kennedy at one time got fired from his job at the State University of New York at Albany, and then he won the Pulitzer Prize. So they would offer him anything, to entice him back to the university that had shamefully, let him go before he got the Pulitzer Prize. So he just set up this wonderful Writers' Institute and invited, so many now internationally renowned writers. But at the time, it was a launch pad for them. So that was quite an interesting part in my, in my past. Nobody's ever heard of Albany, but actually, because it's the state capital of New York, it was quite a thriving arts city, although a small one. And I was very lucky to have been there at the time, when all these arts and artists and artistes were being cultivated. And I'll throw something else into the mix. I fraternized with a very interesting crowd there, a lot of expats from Europe, but because there was a lot of money for the arts and a lot for sciences, it attracted some top-notch scientists. And one of them was a chap from Germany who was also a really good poet, Joachim Frank, who was my boyfriend for about 3 years. But he went on to win the Nobel Prize about 2 years ago, which it was, as I said, it was a very interesting mix of people that I kind of ended up just, being acquainted with at that time. I originally just went up there out of curiosity for a weekend and ended up staying for 16 years. So yeah, so it was a very long. It was a very long weekend. So anyway, that's how I met Seamus Heaney, because he was invited by William Kennedy.
Yeah, he was a Nobel Prize winner as well. Heaney.
Yes, yes, and he was also a very good friend of Ted Hughes, and
him as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and he I kind of I did some research on Sylvia Plath a few years back, who's buried in Heptonstall in the village next to where Ted Hughes grew up. And of course they were married, and I met a lot of people that were acquainted with Ted Hughes, but I turned down the opportunity to meet with him in 1976. It's a long story, I won't bore you with it all, but I was very sort of pro flying the flag for Sylvia Plath then. And I had this invitation to come to a soiree in the Spaniards Inn, where Ted Hughes was hosting a reading, and I turned it down to make a point. But you know, such is the impetus, your youthful days. You know, you stand on principle about things that you look back now and think are a bit foolish. But anyway, so Ted Hughes and Seamus Heaney are two of my favourite poets. Anyway, sorry, I hope I haven't bored everyone. It's just I've just been doing some reminiscing about my past, because in this month's issue of Pen, Poetry Express newsletter, Dave Russell asked me to write a biography, and I had to condense all these years of my life sort of into 3 paragraphs, and that's brought up this whole time that I spent meeting these amazing people in Albany. And you're all amazing as well. So, yeah, I feel very honoured to have been able to make such good friends, with so many fascinating people and artists. Anyway, that's what brought it all up to the surface. But anyway, that comes out about the 15th of January. Pen, the Poetry Express newsletter. So I think Dave will send everyone a link to it. So anyway, I just. No. Just giving it a little bit of a push, Yeah. So okay.
Excellent.
Check that out. Yep.
Okay.
Right, I must dash, everyone.
Yeah, me too. I have to go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye, Michelle.
So bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.
Good night.
Goodbye.